Hello students, myself Suresh VS. Welcome back to my channel. Let us continue the lesson. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. A few minutes later, that means after the oath-taking ceremony, a few minutes later, all of them lifted their eyes with great respect. All means respect. They looked up into the sky. Why? In order to watch a spectacular array of South African jets. Spectacular array means an impressive display of South African jets, aeroplanes, helicopters, and troop carriers. They rode in a perfect formation over the Union buildings. See, all these aeroplanes, jet aeroplanes, helicopters, and the troop carriers were flying over the building, over their head in a perfect order. So it was a great display. And in order to watch it, they looked up into the sky. You can see such a display at the day of, on the day of a Republican parade in Delhi. It was not only a display of a pinpoint precision and military force. So Mandela says that it was not a pinpoint precision, means a straight and accurate military force display. It was not only the display of a strict accuracy and a military force. Don't think that they were just performing to show the military force of South Africa and precision or accuracy of the performance, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy. And it was a demonstration, it was a display showing the respect to newly elected government, a democratic government which was elected freely and fairly. So it was a demonstration to show their respect and loyalty, faithfulness to democracy. A newly elected government which was elected freely and fairly. Only moments before the highest generals of South African defense force and police, their chest bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. So only moments before, the high officials of South African army and the South African defense force, as well as the police force, the superior officials, their uniform that was bedecked, that is decorated with ribbons and medals that they got in the past for their dedicated service. They saluted him with great respect and pledged their loyalty. And they showed their loyalty, faithfulness to the newly elected black president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. What an irony it is. A few years before, they not even saluted him that we can leave. But what did they do? They arrested him and put him in jail. The same people saluted him once he became the president of South Africa. So I was not unmindful. I was not unmindful. That means I was conscious. I was aware of this incident that happened a few years before. He was arrested by these people and put him to jail. Finally, a chauffeur of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold of the new South African flag. So the ceremony was going to end. As a final touch to it, Impala jets are the fighter planes, jet fighter planes. They finally a chevron. Chevron means a pattern in the shape of V. So they created a pattern in the shape of V in the sky, and they emitted or left out the smoke in different colors like black, red, green, blue and gold, which are the colors of a South African national flag. So that was a beautiful sight. With that, the ceremony was going to end. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Nikosi, Sikalel, I Africa, and black singing Dice Term, the old anthem of the Republic. The day was symbolized or represented for me by singing two national anthems. We have one national anthem. So one national anthem that was of the white people and another was of the black people. So two national anthems were sung. And the whites singing, that is Nikosi, Sikle, Africa, and the black singing Dice Term, that was an old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither grown knew the lyrics of the anthem, they once despised. Despised means hated. They would soon know the words by heart. Mandela says that although they didn't know the meaning of these lyrics, or they did not know the lyrics, but they sang the national anthem all together. Whites as well as the blacks all together, they sang these two national anthems without knowing its lyrics, but because they hated others' national anthem until now. They hated one another, each one's national anthem. But they will soon learn the lyrics. That is the expectation of Nelson Mandela. He has great hope. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. So on the day of the inauguration of the government, the new government, democratic government, and that day I was overwhelmed. I was disturbed. I was really affected with the sense of history. Here he means that on that day he felt deeply, he was deeply emotional. Okay? Because he was thinking about, or he remembered about the past events, and also about the understanding all the past events that have led up to the moment. So what are the incidents happened until then? That's the history. So he thought about it. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War that was fought between United Kingdom and the Republic of South Africa. So just after this Anglo-Boer War, which was fought between United Kingdom and the South African Republic. And before my own birth and before Mandela's birth, what happened? The white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences. The white-skinned people of South Africa, they fixed up the differences and erected a system of racial domination. And they patched up, they fixed up, they dealt with a difference. And they erected, they created, they built a new system of racial domination, or we can say racial control, racial supremacy against the dark-skinned people of their own land. So that means even before the birth of Nelson Mandela, this system started there. What? The system that is, supremacy over the black people by the white people, so-called apartheid, started even before his birth. The structure, this was a new political structure, a new political system started by them. So this structure they created, which was created by the white people of South Africa, formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. And this system has become the basis of such a society where you see that the cruelty existed, inhuman practices existed. So the society which was based on, yes, the severe cruelty and also the harshest methods which was ever unknown to the world. That means the world first time it came to know about such a inhuman practice or a harshest practice called apartheid, which was established before the birth of Nelson Mandela. It was a new system to the new structure of the society to the world. Now in the last decade of the 20th century, now at present, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own 8th decade as a man, Nelson Mandela, he has completed 8 decades, 80 years as a man. So now he is 80. So this time that system had been overturned forever. So that system, that structure, that new political policy established almost 80 years back, that has been overturned or stopped forever. And in place of that, the democracy is established. And it was replaced by one that is the democracy. A new government based on democracy that recognizes the rights and freedoms of all peoples. And a government which recognizes the rights as well as the freedom of all people, regardless of their color of their skin. That means a new government, a democratic government, which gives rights and freedom to everyone, irrespective of the color of their skins. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifice of thousands of my people. So Mandela says that this day has become possible, or this became possible, or this day had happened. Why? Because of the unimaginable sacrifice of thousands of people. It was not only the struggle of Nelson Mandela. Thousands of people worked behind it. And people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. So such a peoples, so many patriots worked behind it. Thousands of people, their sacrifice as well as their suffering, that cannot be counted, that cannot be calculated, and that cannot be repaid. I felt that day, as I have on as many others day, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. Simply on that day, I felt that I was the sum of all, I was the result of all, I was the total of all other people's sacrifices, all other patriots who had gone before him. Their result was Nelson Mandela. I was the sum total of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line, that long and noble line, the noble line, that is the line of the list of the patriots of South Africa who fought against this inhuman practice called apartheid. So this long list of this noble people, the patriots, ended and now began again with me. And with very happily, he remembers or he acknowledges the sacrifice of these people. And he was inspired by the ideologies of the South African patriots who had or who fought against this practice earlier. And a new era starts with him. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifice had wrought. Wrought means done or achieved. On that day, Nelson Mandela, he was really pained. He was really unhappy because he was not able to thank to those people who had done their marvelous job. And He was not, those people were not there to see the end of their struggle. At last, the black people got emancipation, freedom, and what they had achieved, what Mandela had achieved, in order to see that those people were not there. And Mandela was not able to thank them physically. So he was really pained on that day. Dear students, I wind up today's class here. I hope all of you understood it. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you. Thank you.